Good morning, Rocks and Max. Like and subscribe. This is just a short clip on what's coming in this morning. I see people commented on the red CL. Basically, the frame's not that bad. You can get the frame fixed. And I understand that. It's a job to have it re-railed and what have you. You can get frame rails or maybe bang out the rust and run it for a little bit longer. But for my intentions, I really just don't have the time to do that, or I don't know, maybe I'm just picky. I don't want to have a rust-jacked frame or a frame that once had rust in it, now it's all spread apart with no rust once you hammer it all out. So I have another solution. So stay tuned to find out what that solution is. So anyway, here is a perfect parts CL. Clearly been munched on. Motor, transmission, radiator, hood's gone. But it's got a perfect single frame and a pretty decent wheelbase. I think that would look good for what I want to do. This was a tractor, so, and it doesn't really have a lot of remnants of salt damage. The cab is a little bit rusty, but obviously somebody used to wash it. So the frame is decent, very decent actually. Heavy duty 3/8 frame with air ride. The only thing I don't like about it is 38 rears, but that'll probably end up getting changed anyway. Got this truck out of Ohio. I don't know what it is about tractors from Ohio, why they run 38 rears, but every state has different weight laws, and I can understand that. So I'm excited. This is going to be A lot easier to just unbolt a bunch of bolts. Got to paint everything anyway. Put it all back together. Maybe one day I'll have a really nice CL instead of all these junk ones with bad frames. So this is a start. I'll probably end up selling the cab off of it because I don't need the cab. Recoup some money. This thing is just clean. For being in the somewhat northeast, I'm a little bit surprised how clean this frame is. Not to say that a single frame shouldn't be clean, but I've seen some pretty bad single frames also. Don't know why the front end has got the 8 lug, but that's okay. I'm not going to use that front axle anyway. Just mainly bought the frame. So after further investigation, I did know it was a CL. I did know it was a CL700. But what this actually is a CL753. What does that mean? That means it had a cat in it. So the question is, how did the truck get to this point? Was it parted out because dogs and cats don't get along? Was it parted out because the motor blew up? So my assumption is, being that Mack made these beautiful fiberglass doors, I don't know why practically every single CL that I get my hands on has fiberglass doors, but this is pretty mangled up, and then the roof is pretty mangled up, and then this has got a big old crease in it with the grab handle just tore right off. It's gone. So my assumption is the truck was rolled over. But why did it roll over? Again, you have to go back to, did the dog and the cat not get along? Was a guy pulling a hill and going too fast and somebody pulled out in front of him and he had no choice but to flap it over? Was he dumping a load? Or did it have a dump trailer? I guess these are just questions that I'll never figure out. But it didn't hurt air tanks unless they were putting it back together, and obviously somebody cared enough to keep the fuel tanks. And even the fender on the back here isn't all tore up. So I'm not quite sure what happened. Maybe somebody just sideswiped it in a really awkward way. Not sure. But check this frame out. I cannot tell you how clean this frame really is. For a Northeast truck, I'm very impressed. We also have the CRD 92, 93 rear ends. I don't know if you can see. Oh yeah, you can see. It's got 442 ratio, which is a pretty common ratio for Mack. It had an 8-speed. I see it in the door jamb. Born with it anyway. Whether it died with it, I don't know. But this is, again, a very good potential parts truck for what I have to do. And that's it. I see somebody really loved slack adjusters. That apparently could not go with the truck. But they did not care about the air cans. They were in a mad dash. Well, that one's still on, but they were in a mad dash to get them off. Kind of weird. Maybe this company has a couple CLs, maybe more, I don't know. But obviously there were some parts that the individual or the company held dear and had to have. So the only real bad rust is just a little bit of entrapment in these cross members, and then your normal where the fifth wheel once was. So the plan is make this chassis a tractor, keeping the same wheelbase, putting the E9 in it, haven't decided what transmission, put a new cab on it, hood, and all the accessories to build it back into a truck again. One day, of course. And this is also the first CL700 that I've ever seen that's only had one steering box. I have a very good friend who has since educated me on certain things. The light duty front end deserves single steering box, where if it had a 20,000 pound or 18,000 pound front, it would have had dual steering boxes. So even though I've been around Macks my whole life, I'm still learning. You never know what they did at the factory or in the design department building these trucks back in the day. So it's always interesting to me to find out some little facts here and there. So hey, thanks for watching. This is just a quick clip of all the chaos that happens here every once in a while. And stay tuned for the next one.